Hello friends, this is Baswaraj Binumblek coming out with my next video on transamination, deamination and decarboxylation. So before understanding the transamination, deamination and decarboxylation, brief you about protein catabolism. Protein catabolism, the other name for that is amino acid metabolism. Metabolism of amino acids is also called as protein catabolism or protein metabolism, and protein catabolism is also called as amino acid catabolism or amino acid metabolism. So they are divided into transamination, deamination, ammonia transport, and urea cycle. These are the processes involved in catabolism of amino acids: transamination, deamination, ammonia transport, and urea cycle. In this overall reaction for protein catabolism is this, that is alpha amino acids transfer amino group to keto acid. This is the keto acid. So in presence of enzyme transaminases, so there is amino group is transferred to form a corresponding amino acid. So when the amino group is transferred to this will form a keto acid. This is a new keto acid formed, and this is a new amino acid form on transamination. This new amino acid will further remove the amino group, that is deamination. In presence of enzyme deaminases, again it will form a keto acid. When this amino group is removed on deamination, this will form a keto acid. So this process again combines with one more amino acid. So this will continue. So on deamination, there is liberation of ammonia on deamination. But in transamination, there is no free ammonia liberated. It is transferred to keto acid. Here there is liberation. So this is a toxic compound. It has to be detoxified, which is detoxified by urea cycle. In urea cycle, ammonia combines with carbon dioxide to form urea. That's how the amino acids or proteins are being catabolized by transamination, deamination, and urea. Ammonia is transported to urea cycle. So there that toxic ammonia is converted to urea. So that is transamination. The different processes involved in protein catabolism are transamination, deamination, ammonia transport, and urea cycle. Transamination, transfer of ammonia group. Deamination is removal of ammonia group. Ammonia transport is transfer of toxic ammonia from liver. It is converted to urea by urea cycle. Some amount is also converted to glutamine. So urea cycle in the liver, which occurs in liver, so combines with carbon dioxide to form urea, which I have discussed in urea cycle also. Already my video is there, earlier video is there on how this urea, how toxic ammonia is detoxified in urea cycle. That already video is there. Is further excreted, that urea which is produced is excretory product. So that is excreted in urine. Further excreted in urine as an excretory product. In urine, there are many excretory products. Urea is also one of the major component of excretory product which is present in urine, in normal urine. Coming to the transamination process, that is, as the name indicates, transfer of amino group. That's why it is called as transamination. Transfer of amino group from one amino acid to keto acid, you are calling it as transamination. The enzymes involved are transaminases, and these occur in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Whatever the metabolic process, which will occur in some of the organelles where the enzymes are present. So this occurs in cytoplasm as well as in mitochondria. And there is liberation of ammonia, and that is reversible. It is a reversible process. Ammonia is liberated, but it is liberated ammonia is transferred to the keto acid here. Exactly, we cannot say that this is liberate. There is no liberation. Free ammonia is not liberated. It is transferred to keto acid. The ammonia amino group from this amino acid is transferred to keto acid. So directly that amino group is not transferred to this keto acid. Here the coenzymes involved are PLP, that is pyridoxal phosphate. So the amino group is transferred to this coenzyme first to form pyridoxamine phosphate. This pyridoxamine phosphate will transfer the amino group to this keto acid to form a new amino acid. And that coenzyme is liberated again. Once that amino group is liberated from this pyridoxamine phosphate, it will form again pyridoxal phosphate. liberates coenzyme. Some salient features are there of transamination process. This require coenzyme PLP, that is period of all transamination reactions require this coenzyme, which is derived from vitamin B6. Another, it is having both. It is amphibolic, you can call it as, because it is having both catabolic phase and as well anabolic phase. Transamination is catabolism, and the synthesis of non-essential amino acids occurs in this transamination. So that is an anabolic process. One is degraded, another one is synthesized. So it involves both processes, catabolic and anabolic process. So there is synthesis of non-essential amino acids takes place in the body by this transamination process. Non-essential amino acids are 10 non-essential amino acids are there. Essential amino acids which are not synthesized, so they have to be supplied through your diet, which you have discussed in the other videos. And excess amino acids are diverted towards energy generation or synthesis of energy. And as I told you, there is no free ammonia liberated, only transfer of amino group occurs. That is, amino group transferred from this to coenzyme, then to this keto acid to form a amino acid. That's all. So all amino acids except these four, lysine, threonine, proline, and hydroxyproline participate in transamination. All other amino acids will involve in transamination process except these amino acids. You can see there. And one more feature is interconversion of amino. Interconversion is when the one amino acid, you can see that this is amino acid, transfer the amino group to this keto acid, so it will form a new amino acid here. You can see that new amino acid is formed, and this is forming new keto acid. Then this is formed. So interconversion means this amino acid level will be decreased when it is converted to this amino acid on transfer of amino group. So in interconversion means the amino content in the body. You think that take example, amino acid 1 and amino acid 2 are there. In the body, amino acid 2 content is low. Its concentration is low, its content is low. In that case, amino acid 1 will convert to amino acid 2 to maintain that level. So whenever there is decrease in content of any of the amino acids, the other amino acid will convert on transamination to that particular amino acid. So that process of conversion from this amino acid to that amino acid, non-essential amino acids, we are calling it as equalization. So that concentration is maintained, balancing. So that is called as interconversion of amino acid 1 is converted to amino acid 2, or amino acid 2 content is more in the body and amino acid 1 content is low. So this amino acid 2 will convert to amino acid 1. So that is your interconversion occurs through this transamination. So how this reaction occurs? This is amino acid. So you can see this amino group is transferred, this complete portion is transferred to this keto acid. You can see there. So it is forming CHNH3, and this KO is transferred to this amino acid to form a keto acid. You can see there. This is forming a new keto acid is formed and new amino acid is formed. In this process, the coenzyme involved is pyridoxal phosphate. So what is happening exactly here is amino acid 1 transfers amino group to this coenzyme. This will transfer that amino group to keto acid. So when you transfer this amino acid, this keto acid 1 will form, amino acid 2 is formed. And when this amino group is transferred to this, it will form a new keto acid. So keto acid 2 is formed. So that's the influence of enzyme transaminases, the enzyme involved in this transamination, and also called as amino transferases. The clinical significance is there of this transaminase enzymes, SGPT and SGOT, serum glutamate pyruvate transaminases, and serum glutamate oxaloacetate transaminases. In healthy person, slightly this SGOT level is higher than when compared to this SGPT in the serum in case of normal healthy person. And these estimation of these enzymes in the serum, you can diagnose the disorders, variety of disorders, or it can be used as a diagnostic tool to identify the disease or diagnose the disease or disorder. So in case of hepatic disorder, SGPT level is increased. Sorry. SGPT level is increased. and SGOT level is increased in myocardial infarction. So you can see there SGOT level is increased in myocardial infarction, SGPT in hepatic. And also there is increase in these enzyme levels in variety of other disorders, other cases also, like in acute pancreatitis, this enzyme level is increased, leukemias, enzyme level is increased. So there is not only one reason for the increase in it. So this can be one of the tool, can say that due to this increase in this enzymes, maybe due to hepatic. So further that confirmation can be done by using another diagnostic tools to exactly why there is increase in this enzyme level. What is the cause for that? Okay, pancreatitis in that case, leukemias also there is increase, muscular dystrophies there is increase in these enzyme levels. And in case of erythromycin therapy, this is the drug which when you are taking this drug, there will be increase in these enzymes. So even the medications which you are using may increase the these transaminases level in the serum. And the second one is deamination process. As the name indicates, is the removal of amino group. So there will be liberation of toxic ammonia, which is detoxified by urea cycle to form urea. Two types of deaminations are there, oxidative and non-oxidative. The enzymes involved are deaminases. These occur in liver and kidney. Oxidative deamination, as the oxidative liberation of ammonia is coupled with oxidation. So that's why it is oxidative deamination. Free ammonia formed from the amino acid group of amino acid coupled with oxidation. So that's why it is called oxidative deamination process. The provides ammonia for urea synthesis, and keto acids which are being formed on transfer of amino group are used for variety of reactions in case of energy generation processes. The enzymes involved are called as oxidases. In case of particularly in oxidative deamination, in general you can call them as oxidases. If this L amino acid is there, in that L amino acid oxidase involved in that process. If D amino acid is being oxidized on oxidative deamination, then D amino acid oxidases are involved. In common, you can call them as oxidases. They are flavoproteins, so coenzyme involved will be FMN or FAD. They act on corresponding amino acids to produce keto acids and ammonia. When they act, these enzymes act on these amino acids, they will form a new keto acid and ammonia is liberated. Oxygen is there, coupling is there, as I told you, oxidative deamination, oxygen is also involved. So that oxygen is reduced to hydrogen peroxide. On oxidation, oxygen is reduced to H2O2, which is a toxic compound immediately detoxified by catalase enzyme. These are the free radical scavenging enzymes. Peroxidases, catalases are the enzymes which will detoxify the toxic substances in the body. So if this enzyme level is decreased in the body, then the toxic, that free radical scavenging mechanism is decreased. So these toxic components will not be detoxified. So those are the important enzymes, catalysis are. And in the reaction, make it more clear, that is in this oxidative deamination, amino acid in presence of flavoproteins, enzyme involved is oxidases. Coenzyme is FP, that is FMN or FAD. So what is happening? The hydrogen from this amine and this carbon atom are transferred to this to form FPH2. So when the two hydrogen are removed, it will form a double bond to form a amino acid. This amino acid combines with water molecule to form a keto acid, where there will be liberation of ammonia. Okay. So what is happening? This NH and this H2 will form, liberate ammonia. Ammonia is liberated, so and this O is attached to this carbon atom to form a keto acid, RCOCOH. That will be a new keto acid. So correspond, it will produce keto acid. So this is the keto acid and ammonia. So this is the ammonia. Here this FPH2 flavoprotein, which is to which two hydrogen are transferred, is oxidized. So with oxygen molecule, so oxidation takes place. So this FPH2 plus O2 will reduce this oxygen. So to form H2O2, and this coenzyme is liberated. So this is a toxic. So this toxic substance is immediately detoxified by enzyme catalysis to H2O2 and half H2O2. This toxic H2O2 is converted to H2O plus half O2. So this is non-toxic substance. Overall reaction can be written like this: L-amino acid in presence of oxidases, coenzyme is FMN or FP. H2O2 is there. This H2O2, O2 is there. This O2. And this FMN or FP, this is here. So liberation of ammonia, so liberation of H2O2, removal, H2O2 is removed, so to form keto acid. That's how you can write the overall reaction of oxidative deamination. In case of non-oxidative deamination, there is no coupling of oxidation. That is amino group is removed without undergoing oxidation. This occurs in amino acids containing this hydroxyl group are deaminated by dehydratases, or we may call them as dehydrases. And also sulfur containing amino acids are also dehydrated by enzymes desulfidrases. Enzyme examples I am writing here: serine. Serine is an amino acid in presence of dehydrase. So you can remove this water molecule. So this H and this OH, when you remove, it will form a double bond. So H2O is removed, so it will form an intermediate compound amino acid. This amino acid on further transfer of this double bond to this NH, and so it will form CH3. So this H is transferred to this CH2 to form CH3. So this will be a amino acid. Amino acid is being formed. Intermediate compound transferred to respective amino acid. This is non-enzymic, and here this amino acid when combines with the water molecule to form, so NH and this H2 will form liberation of ammonia. And this ammonia is liberated, and this O is attached here, so it will form a keto acid. So there is formation of a corresponding keto. This is a pyruvic acid. This is a keto acid is formed. So this sulfur containing, in case of this is hydroxyl group containing amino acid. This is sulfur containing amino acid. Sulfur containing enzymes involved are desulfidrases. Instead of H2O, here H2S is liberated. SH and this H is removed, so that will form a double bond. Other things are same. So this again double bond is shifted to this amine. So transfer, this hydrogen is transferred here to form CH3. So it will form a double bond here. So this intermediate amino acid is converted to corresponding amino acid, and this combines with the water molecule to liberate ammonia. NH plus H2 NH3, O is attached here, so it will form a keto acid. So that keto acid is formed. This is non-oxidative deamination of sulfur containing amino acid, and this is non-oxidative deamination of hydroxyl group containing amino acid. That's how this non-oxidative deamination occurs without coupling of oxidation. Decarboxylation is the last process, removal of COH from the amino acid. We are calling it as decarboxylation. So enzymes involved are decarboxylases, and in this case also the coenzymes involved are pyridoxal phosphate or PLP. And the amino acids on decarboxylations form these biogenic amino acids, which have the physiological activity like such as neurotransmitters, which the biogenic amines formed have physiological activities like neurotransmitters. They act as neurotransmitters, or they may act as hormones. Significance of these amines: they are involved in putrefaction, decaying of organic matter, decaying process. Putrefaction is a decaying process. Contraction of uterus is another significance. Those amines are responsible for this contraction of precursors. These are the substances which will form another substance. Precursors are the substance which will form another substance from that. So those are called as precursors. They are involved in synthesis of another substance. That's how we can call it. So like precursors for adrenaline and noradrenaline. So some reactions, this is general reaction. The amino acid in presence of decarboxylase, this CO2 is removed, so this H is transferred to that, so it will form RCH2, NH2, so CO2 is liberated. Amine is formed, corresponding amine is formed. Lysine, You remove this COH, that H is transferred here, so you form CH2 NH2. So cadaverine. Lysine is converted to cadaverine in place of D. Tryptophan to tryptamine. So this CO2 you remove, it will form CH2 NH2. So that is tryptamine. So this is all about transamination, deamination, and decarboxylation. Thank you for watching my channel. Please subscribe to my channel for further videos on biochemistry. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video.